Hello guys! So, I am limited on time right now. I've mentioned in a previous video that I have things going on this summer that are taking up a lot of my time. I'm not posting as regularly as I usually do. I usually am doing it every week, at least once. But this week, the week I'm filming this, the week of June 5th, I did not post anything. I was originally going to plan on posting my Misery May vlog, but there was too much footage, and I do not have time to edit it down because the projects I'm working on also require me to do video and audio editing, and I just can't do it all. So I decided to do this video and do a much shorter, condensed thoughts version of how Misery May went for me. This way you guys are up to date on my reading, and I don't have to spend quite so long editing it. I also do not have my lighting set up. I'm just going based on my room lighting, so the lighting's not great. It's just very informal, and this is probably how a lot of my, especially sit-down videos, are going to be. I mean, my vlogs are already kind of like this, but my videos are just going to be a lot more like this. So anyway, let's get into the books I read in May. It was a solid, beyond solid reading month. Thank goodness. I only read 5 books, which isn't a ton, and is maybe, I guess it's kind of average for me, a little bit on the lower end of average, at least so far this year, how I've been doing. But I had 3 5 stars and 1 4.5 stars. So very, very good. And then the last one was, I think I ended up giving it 3 stars, but it was still an enjoyable experience. So let's get into this. The first one that is a 3-star read was the Canterbury Tales. I finally finished this by Geoffrey Chaucer. I started this last June and I took this long to finish it. There were months that I didn't read it at all, and I only had a few stories left, so I was like, you know what, I just want to finish this before June. So I did. Do I remember the stories in this super well? No, but I am familiar with a lot of them now. There's actually a couple that were brought up in Christine de Pizan's Book of the City of Ladies, which I found pretty interesting. I think if I were to choose my favorite, I would have to say probably the Knight's Tale as far as the tales, but I think The Wife of Bath was my favorite perspective to be in. Like, I didn't love her story, but I feel like her story about herself and her explaining her past was the most interesting part of this book, which is perfect because I do have a book that is basically about the Wife of Bath, so I'd love to get to that soon. But yes, I finally finished this. So happy that I did, and it is one I'd be willing to return to in the future. I don't know if I'd ever read it cover to cover again, maybe if I got a different translation, but it is one that I think I would revisit some of the tales and stuff at various points in my life. So that is great. And now off the bucket list. So my 4.5 star rating went to Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb. Yes, I finally read it. I finally finished this trilogy. I do have a vlog specifically about my thoughts on this one coming. That one I'm not scrapping because I've been intending to go through all of the Realm of the Elderlings and vlog my whole experience and have a vlog for each book. So I'm going to make sure that that still happens because that's been my plan. So I'm not going to say too much here, but suffice it to say, I liked a lot about this, and I just love Robin Hobb's writing and the way she brings characters and the world to life. But the ending, there were things I didn't love about it. I think my problem is I'm not super in love with Fitz. I have a soft spot for him, I would say, but I don't feel like I'm like super in love with him as a person. What I love about this series is the side characters, and so there was a lot in the ending that I liked regarding the side characters, but regarding Fitz, I didn't necessarily love where he ended up due to issues I've already had with him in the past. If you've seen my other vlogs, you probably are aware, at least on some level, of what I'm talking about. I don't feel like some of those issues were really fixed in this book. In fact, I think they were just kind of left to be as they were. So that's why it was a 4.5, because there was so much. I just loved reading this book. The experience was great, but there's things about Fitz that I struggle with, and it's just hard for me to give it a 5 stars when I was struggling with that so much. I would say in this series, the first one, Assassin's Apprentice, was my favorite. Between this one and the second one, I don't know. There's different things I like about each of them. I might say on the whole that the series went downhill over time. Like, I think I would say Assassin's Apprentice, then Royal Assassin, then Assassin's Quest would be the order I put them in. But I still really enjoyed this. So anyway, there is my 4th spot for the month. Then we get into the 3 5 stars, but they're all kind of different 5-star experiences. So starting with the third place, I completed The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank, and I was really surprised by this. I expected to enjoy it on some level, but her writing is really good, and it's really sad that we didn't get more from her, that she passed away before she could bring the world even more of her talent. But there's also the question of, would she have even written anything if she had survived? So it's a very interesting thing to think about, but I did really enjoy her writing. It was wonderful to experience her life in real time through her eyes, and it's really sad because the final entry was made 2 days before the Gestapo found the Franks and took them to concentration camps. So definitely very miserable as far as that goes, because you just know what's going to happen. But she's just a very real person, and she's very honest about her feelings, and I really appreciated it. So I felt like I couldn't give it less than a 5 stars because I understand why it's withstood the test of time. I understand why so many people have you read it in school, teachers, and I thought it was a really great book, and I'm so glad I finally read it. Then we had a reread in my second place, and that is The Trumpet Major by Thomas Hardy. So this was my pick for Misery May as far as a Hardy novel goes, and I still love it. I already knew it was one of my favorite Hardy novels, especially of his lesser known works, and I wasn't sure if I would still consider it such though, because it had been several years since I read it, and I honestly didn't remember very much about the plot, but I did remember the feeling this gave me, and it definitely gave me that again. Like, I just love particularly the male characters in this book. Our main character, I can't even remember her name, Anne Garland, is interesting, but I think what pulls me into this book are the male characters who are all in love with her, of course. The ending is so tragic, it hurts me so bad, and yeah, it's just great. I don't know what quite about it wins me over so much. Like I said, I think the male characters are very interesting, and I don't know, I just really love the atmosphere Hardy creates in this, exploring the Napoleonic era. It's just amazing. I just really love it. So I think that's all I really have to say about it, because it's not, I don't know, I'm like thinking back and I'm like, there's a plot, but there's nothing super huge. I mean, there are things that are huge for these people, but there's nothing that really stands out all that much to me as far as the plot goes besides the ending. It's really just the characters and how the events that do occur in the book showcase more about the characters and who they are on the inside and what values they have. And so I just find it really interesting to think about, and I just loved listening to the audiobook for this. So far as 5 stars go, I have a book that I just think is very well written. I understand why it's a classic, and I enjoyed my time in. I have The Trumpet Major, where it's a book that it's a classic that I just really love and just has my heart in a way that it gives me emotions that I don't think this would be able to, but both of them still create a 5-star experience for me, just in a different emotional way. And then we have one that I guess it's similar to my feeling about The Trumpet Major, but the premise of the book is very different, and so it's a slightly different feeling from what The Trumpet Major gives me, and that is 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes. Yes, I finally got to this book. I've been wanting to for ages, and I was really impressed by it. I understand why so many people recommend it. The writing was just beautiful. The way Natalie Haynes brought these women who were involved in the Trojan War to life was just incredible. I could tell she just really has a passion for Greek mythology and Greek history, and I just absolutely adored it. I don't even know what else to say beyond that, because I just loved being in this. I loved touring ancient Greece and exploring the lives of these women and their inner feelings and how they're coping with war, and how symbolic that is of women in general who have dealt with wars throughout the past. And basically just exploring the experiences on the home front of these women, as well as civilians who are negatively impacted by the war and events within the war. And yeah, I just really loved it. I'm so glad I finally read this. I look forward to reading more by her because I think I'll be able to continue to enjoy it. And man, I just love a good Greek myth retelling, especially from the perspective of women within Greek myth. So that is it. Very short, especially for me. Thank you very much. So I'm gonna wrap it up there. It was, like I said, it was a really great reading month. Didn't read quite as much as I would have liked to, but I also read really good quality things, so all worked out in the end. Hopefully June will be a good month. I don't think I'm going to read nearly as much in the month of June. It's like almost the 10th when I'm recording this, and I barely have read anything in general. There's one book that I'll probably finish soon, but that's just because it's really short and I've just broken it up over a few days. So honestly, I probably should be able to read that one even faster, but like I said, I've just been focused on other projects and things, which I still love, and I've just kind of felt like I need to prioritize those other things over reading and booktube for a little bit, which has been a gut wrench for me, which is why I'm making this video, so that I can have at least something. But hey, such is life, things happen, and hopefully I'll be able to get back to a more regular schedule with this as well within the next few months as I get used to those other projects and figuring those things out. So I'm going to end this here. I do need to leave, so thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you've read any of the books I've mentioned, also how your Misery May went, if you have a favorite book you read. I would love to hear about it. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!